Welcome to Phoenix Talks, and I am Brendel Wolf, and my lovely co-host Diane R. DiBiase is joining me once again. And this week, wow, we have a non-emotion topic. You know, so many times we're always talking about different emotions that we're experiencing, but this time we're doing things a little different. And I'm going to preface everything with a quick story as to why and what inspired. I was scrolling through Facebook the other day, and one of my previous coaches, Frederick Douglass Busey, yes, Frederick Douglass, but he was one of the coaches from last year that really inspired me. And he had put up a post on Facebook about an event that he had just attended that really went sour for a lot of people, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. And he was describing what was going on at the event. I don't want to mention exactly where for privacy, but he said, okay, all of these things happened and some people enjoyed it, some people didn't. What's your opinion? And I was like, oh,
Yes.
oh, oh, we got to talk about this. And I even responded in a comment to him saying, this is going to be my next podcast topic.
Yeah. Well, this
Because
is a good topic. I like it.
it really is. I mean, think about it. And I had told Diane just before we went live that I had a few surprises. And here's a little bit of audience participation for anybody who is watching in the live chat, or even if you're watching in the replay. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, and I want you to write down a few things. You can play along or you can do it in your head. I don't care. I don't have an opinion on it. See what I did there?
I did. I saw that.
I want you to brainstorm. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to pause right now, right after I give the instruction. Feel free to pause and do this little exercise. I want you to write down, 5 to 10 things that you have opinions about yourself. I'll give a moment or so. I'll talk quietly just so that it isn't completely silent while we do this.
So, I should probably share what I guess my personal definition of what an opinion is.
Go for it.
So from my perspective, limited as it is, from my opinion, the definition of opinion is a thought process and idea and perspective that comes from your accumulated experiences and deductions that are limited to whatever that experience has been. So, in other words, it's whatever you learned in this lifetime that you're projecting outwards. Some of it is factually based, some of it is not. Some of it is just your personal preference and perspective.
Yep. And if we were to tag any emotion that we've talked about in the past, we would tag judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because judgment is all of those things summed up into an emotion or into a thought process that creates the emotions and helps to create the opinions that we have of others or of situations of ourselves.
Correct. Absolutely, 100%. And it shapes our life decisions as well, because we make decisions based on the opinions of others until we learn that we get to decide for ourselves what our opinion is.
Exactly. I mean, I did a teaser video on Instagram and Facebook in my stories where I was standing in front of a mirror and I'm like, okay, how should I wear my hair? Which necklace should I wear? Who cares? Honestly, that's the proper response. Who cares?
Yeah.
But we know that somebody is going to have an opinion about our appearance. And that's one of the largest problems that we have and that we suffer from, whether it be how fit we are, how long our hair is, what color our hair is, what our body style is, what our body weight is.
So can I bring up the 5-second rule?
Yep.
For those who haven't heard of this version of a 5-second rule, if you can't fix it in 5 seconds or less, don't bring it up. Don't say it. If they don't have toilet paper hanging off their shoe or spinach in their teeth, don't bring it up. Don't say it. Keep your opinion to yourself because it's none of your business, period.
Right. I mean, we have opinions, and I bring up appearance, and I don't know if you're familiar with one of the old advertisements. I don't know if it was an advertisement or just an old meme where you have the same man in two different pictures side by side. One, he's in his street clothes. He's got several earrings in. His arms are completely tattooed. And then in the picture next to him, well, guess what? He's a doctor. And it embodies so much of opinion and how it affects people's perception and judgment of the people that are around them.
Right. So your opinion of yourself dictates the people that you have around you. So what you want to do is know yourself so well and be good with yourself so much that you surround yourself with people whose opinions you seek to add value to your experience. Because if you're trying to people please and make everyone else happy and sacrificing yourself in the process and losing yourself in the process, they're not adding value. You're just accepting their limited perspective as something that you are responsible for making them comfortable with. That's not your job. Your job is to make yourself comfortable first. So on the note of caring and who cares and what difference does it make? This is where we go back to that piece of you need to understand that everyone's limitations are going to be projected at you.
Yes.
We are projecting our limitations out at you, the public. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It's the same thing with people's opinions. If it feels wrong and it makes you feel a certain kind of way, don't take it. Maybe analyze it to learn something about yourself, but that's it. Don't adopt it as the truth, as your truth. I think that's where people get tripped up. You want so much to make someone else comfortable and people please that you make their issue your truth so that they're more comfortable with you.
Right.
They're just not your people.
Speaking of my people, I got a couple of my people that are in the live chat right now. Quick shout out to one of my Rise DJs, Steve, who is bringing back his Hanging with Steve-O show on Monday, September 16th. And it's a really fun time. He loves to play all kinds of music, but this time he's going to have a theme of emo. And I have my lovely co-founder and co-host of The Messengers also in the chat room, DJ Carey. And so a quick shout out to those two. Thank you so much for joining us. But you know, when you're out and you see somebody and their appearance, you immediately have a judgment about, a judgmental thought. And that judgmental thought creates a story in your mind about what type of person that could be. And they could have a scowl on their face and you are trying to avoid them because, well, one, they smell, one, they aren't dressed well, two, they look like somebody just ran over their cat. And all of these are assumptions that create an opinion. And then all of a sudden, that opinion is flattened because they turn around and smile. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
And it does. It happens that fast. Actually, it happens faster than that.
Yes,
You
but
know, if all computers could work as quickly as our subconscious into our conscious, oh, we'd all be so happy.
we would, wouldn't we?
But that's just an opinion.
That's an opinion. I was just about to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Your opinions, again, I have those three gates. Is it true? Is it relevant? Is it kind? You're allowed to have opinions, but when you're sharing them, be mindful of the audience member. Who are you sharing this opinion with? And is this opinion going to impact them in a way that if something goes wrong with it, how are you going to feel about that?
And we all know somebody in our life that is on output mode only,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't read the room.
Yeah. So that might be a message or a reminder to be mindful of what your thoughts are and what your feelings are in certain circumstances, and just analyze them. Like, do I really feel this way? Is this really my opinion? Or
Right.
is this just what I was taught to believe? Because opinions are also belief systems. When you're looking at the bigger picture,
Exactly.
it's a self-analysis opportunity.
Right. I mean, judgment and opinions, they literally hold hands.
Yeah.
They really do. And it was surprising, since we've already done a podcast about judgment,
Mm-hmm.
that it was so important to do one about opinions, because they do hold hands with each other.
It is. They really do. And I'm going to actually bring up, like, say, for example, cultures and families that come from more restrictive kind of circumstances. I'm going to leave it.
Traditional. Right.
Whatever that looks like, it's a little bit more limiting.
Okay. Customs. Family customs and history.
So that being said, when you're in that type of environment and the opinion is coming from the source who's the loving person that is your adult in the family or whatever, that is giving the love, and the parent and the whatever, they're giving their opinion based on their belief that it's accurate and it's healthy. So what you need to do, what you're responsible for, is to check that, see if that really fits for you. It may be that you're still carrying old beliefs that were someone else's opinion that maybe doesn't
Right.
align with you still.
Right.
It definitely made you have bad decisions in life because you're going with those people's voices in your head when you're just getting started in life trying to make decisions.
Right.
So,
And for those that are watching the replay specifically, if you started the exercise that I gave at the beginning of the podcast, here's a good chance to pause and add to that list, because I know things were just added in your thoughts, to add to that list of opinions you have about yourself and what you do.
mhm.
So feel free to pause and go add to that list,
Right.
because I'm not done with you on that yet.
Yes. But our opinions influence others. So we are responsible for what comes out of our mouth and what we think and how it affects others. Understanding how we've been affected by other people's opinions and how they've been sometimes helpful, sometimes necessary, sometimes detrimental to our health and wellness.
Exactly. And when it comes to, let's switch just a hair, receiving opinions.
Mhm.
Now, we've kind of hinted around the people who, just give their opinion regardless of whether or not they've been asked. Now, what happens when we ask somebody's opinion, but we're not ready for the answer? Yeah, I'm asking you direct.
You want me?
What's your opinion?
What's my opinion? So if you don't like the answer, that somebody gives you, I'm going to tell you how to handle it if you don't like the answer. If you don't like the answer, say thank you very much for your honesty, and I'll take that into consideration when I do my self-analysis. That's it. You leave it at
Right.
that with that person, because that opinion that you feel that trigger from could very easily turn into you taking things personally and it going south. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. You're going to pause it right there and just take it where it's at and decide later when you're by yourself doing your self-analysis work, how accurate it is, how inaccurate it is, because sometimes you're triggered because it's true.
Yes, she was pointing at me.
I was pointing at the
Because
audience.
even though it flashes back and forth between us, we're actually watching each other. So she was literally pointing at me based on the conversation that we were having before we went, but it wasn't about opinion. So she's, jabbing at me, reminding.
I didn't mean to, but now you said that, I'm like analyzing the conversation from earlier.
Now, see, perfect example. Don't
Yeah,
you love how that just happened?
it just happened. You just had an opinion about what my
Because
thought was, and it wasn't
it was
right.
an assumption. See, opinions and assumptions, they're the same too. Because
Yeah.
I assumed, because I'm watching you directly
Yes.
and we're not side by side, and you're pointing directly at me,
Yeah.
that it was about me.
You're right under
Viewing
the
audience.
camera.
I don't care if you're watching live or in the replay. Viewing audience. Do you get it?
Yes. Yes, yes. Oh gosh. But yeah. So if that happens, you gotta stop yourself right there. Just take it for what it is and analyze it yourself. Opinions are just perspectives that you or choose not to take into consideration. That's it. It's just
Yep.
gathering data and deciding what data to throw in the garbage. That's all.
It's a third agreement.
Mhm.
Madame Miguel Ruiz. I always want to say, add an extra W. Ruiz. But his book, the Four Agreements, which I bring up often in these podcasts because there's so much in there in that little bitty book. But the third agreement is don't take things personally, including yourself.
Yes.
So when you're receiving an opinion from somebody, especially if you've asked, take it for what it's worth. You wanted somebody else's advice. You wanted their opinion on an outfit you were wearing, a decision you were making, a drink you're having,
Right.
what you order out. Like it or not, you asked for it. So accept it with grace. And then if it's a little bit more stern than you were hoping, which is what people usually get when they ask me, what do you think of this work that I've just done on Smule? And they usually regret asking that question until they fix it and they say, oh, okay, now I understand. But at first, when somebody offers an opinion, it can sting
Yeah.
because you're asking for their truth about you that they see.
Mhm. But it could also sting because you're feeling the weight of their judgment and you don't agree. So that's okay too. You just got to use your discernment. This is why you have to know yourself. And these things are ways of getting to know yourself. That's part of the process, feeling the pain of these situations and circumstances. Let's talk about opinions of ourselves, because
Yes.
the opinion, it starts with how we feel about our opinions of ourselves begins with the opinions that we've adopted that we receive from others. That's how it begins. So we formulate an opinion of ourselves based on how we're treated by others from birth. And so if a majority of that is unhealthy and you adopt those opinions as your truth, and it doesn't feel right, you're correct. It's not. But you have to be the one to change your opinion of yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. People who've been through a lot of trauma, they got really crappy opinions of themselves. So the reality is you are still responsible for fixing that for yourself. Do all the work that we were talking about, do all the lists that we're talking about, and naming things
Right.
about yourself. And then next week, you're going to add another 10 to that list because you need to come up with another 10 a week.
All right. You just gave the viewers another reason to pause. Okay. Especially in the replay, specifically in the replay, because what are things that you have a bad opinion about yourself that you cannot directly fix, that you literally have to live with? Because we all have bald spots. Not all of us, but example, we have hair that won't grow as fast. We have eyes that are crooked. We have things that we're born with that we learn to survive with and get used to. Now, pause. And welcome back. So, look at those things that you just wrote down. Or think about those things that you just thought of that you wish you could fix, but you just can't because whatever reason. Is it really a curse? Or do you have the opinion that it's a curse?
And why did you develop that opinion? Who told you X, Y, and Z, whatever it is that you're thinking? Is it valid? Or are they speaking based on their incredibly limited perspective? And this has to, with the don't forget, we're people of the internet. Our parents and generations before did not have access to all this information at their fingertips, and their knowledge was incredibly based on mostly made up stuff. And if you don't believe me, you can do your own research. And that's my opinion.
There's a lot of make-believe out there.
There is. So you have to understand that you are the one who now has access to new information that they didn't have. So now it really is your responsibility to change your opinion, to change your mind. This whole rewiring thing, it's changing your mind. Changing your opinion can be changing the programming. Why don't you replace some of those opinions with facts? Do more fact checking.
And, while you were saying all that, I heard in my head, in addition to that, if there's a behavior that you have that you want to change, you have to change the opinion that you have that created that behavior.
Right.
Because a lot of behaviors that we have are because of opinions that we have about ourselves.
Does anyone have questions about what we're talking about? Because I know we're talking broad subjects, but maybe someone has a specific question that they want.
No, but I will bring up a funny that was mentioned earlier when it comes to asking somebody's opinion and whether or not you like the answer, you're going to get what comes out. My wonderful co-host Carrie said, "Don't ask Micah. If you can't handle the truth, don't ask Micah."
Yes, I had a nickname in college. It was Diane. Let me be blunt with you, honey. Because I was so direct.
It was what?
Let me be blunt with you, honey. Because I was so direct when I spoke that it was like, we weren't ready for that.
Meanwhile, if somebody came up when I was growing up and wanted my opinion, I was so taken aback that I didn't know what to say. Because it was like, you're asking me?
Right.
Nobody ever asks me.
Yes. Yes. So be careful with your opinions because they do affect those around you, especially with your kids, those parents, okay? We don't know any better until we do, but when we do, we need to correct it with the kids too, and just make sure that they receive the new intel that we received, and we call ourselves out on the bad intel. We got to do that. Let's normalize that, okay? Let's not say, oh, they'll figure it out. Oh, they got to live their own life and figure. No, wait, no. If you,
There's a time and place for everything, and
yes,
that's included.
right. But if you can take accountability on something and course correct them because you recognize that you were on the wrong, then do it. Why would you not? Ask
Right.
yourself why you wouldn't.
And since we're on this branch real quick, which,
Mhm.
you know, it's one that has a crack in it, so we can't stand on it for too long. Otherwise, it's going to come plummeting down and we're going to go way off course. But when it comes to like child rearing and watching them grow and develop their own social skills, if children fight, it's actually a good thing. If you want to referee and make sure that nobody gets into a bloody stump, breaks up anything or whatever, great. Stand off to the side as a parent. Stand off to the side. Let them work it out, because that helps them develop the social skills that they need for interpersonal relationship.
And everything that you'd be sharing with them is your opinion. Just make sure they're more solid and stable and healthy before you go ahead and share.
Yeah. You can't treat my child like that. Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
How many times do we hear that one?
Yes. So our opinions directly affect our health and well-being, because what we tell ourselves we believe, and that's how we make our decisions in life.
Right.
And choose the people around us and choose what we watch and listen to, etc. So make sure you're deprogramming what's unhealthy and rewiring your brain with new, healthier opinions.
You know, we should turn this into a master class, because I got another pause moment.
Go for it.
So if you're watching the replay, right after I give you this instruction, hit pause. What opinions do you think others have about you?
Okay,
Good or bad?
I'm gonna add to that before we repause.
Okay.
Also, make it an exercise for yourself to reach out to 5 people from different areas of your life at different times of your life. Ask them what was their opinion of you when they first got to know you and met you.
Or before?
When they first got to know you and meet you, there's a reason for this.
Okay.
There's a
Okay.
reason for this. And
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, she is picking up on my game and she's having fun with it now. All right.
you could ask somebody from high school. You can ask somebody from childhood. You could ask an old coworker from a job, you know, whatever. Just try to pick different times in your life and ask those people their opinion of you when they first met you and got to know you. It will tell you more about yourself and who you are in your core than you realize.
Mhm.
They got to be valuable sources, though. You can't be asking, you know, Joe Schmo that you barely know. These got to be like people that you trust and you ask for advice from.
So go ahead,
An
hit
exercise.
pause, and we'll see you in a minute or so. So just in case you actually did that, welcome back, and I don't feel weird saying it. And you know,
I did that. I sent a text out to all those, you know, to like 5 different people, and they all had the same opinion of me. At different times in life, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, it is who I am. Wow. Okay. I make more sense to myself now.
and one of the crazy things, the reason that I wanted people to do that little bit of a extra exercise was because we fall into assumption.
Mm.
I'm one of those that deals with mental spirals. and it's something that I can't help. And I literally have had to teach myself and learn how to cope with it and how to bring myself out, because I had these opinions about myself. And because of my neurospiciness, whatever that is, not getting a diagnosis, because you want to pay for it, go ahead. But but I will start to have these arguments based on what opinions I think that somebody has about something that I'm involved with. And it's debilitating.
Right.
Now, somebody who's even more neurospicy than me, I'm so sorry. But somebody who's less, it's so much easier to change the opinion that you think that somebody has of you by asking, because you don't know until you do. Do you like me or don't you? I mean, that's as basic as you can get, right?
Right. So neurospicy folks have that lovely RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria or something, whatever.
We don't deal well with rejection.
No, it sets us into a whole different state in place. So the work that you do does help you maintain that regulation. It is a struggle.
Yeah. And if you think that somebody is going to have an adverse opinion about a thought that you have, and you have to have a conversation with them, one of the easiest and quickest ways, once you practice it, is, who am I arguing with? It's literally ask yourself, and sometimes out loud, who am I arguing with? They're not here. So you don't even have to worry about not knowing what their opinion is ahead of time. You can have an assumption based on if you've had any type of relationship with them in the past, you have some programming and some assumptions and perceptions and patterns that look like, smell like, feel like, hear like. So sometimes you have to take a step out of your comfort zone and say, it was my opinion that you meant this. Is that what you meant? And it's scary to do until it's not. Because if you raise the opinion of yourself that you are good enough to ask those questions, and be able to receive the answer and know the truth, you just raise the bar on yourself. Right.
So when you catch yourself overthinking, but not in a good way, in the ruminating way, then hit the pause button on yourself, on your brain, and ask yourself to slow it down. Be present in the moment, here in this reality, because your brain can go overdrive and take you in directions you don't need to be in, and that's not helping the spiraling. So that's my opinion for you to try.
There she goes, pointing at me again.
You're right underneath the camera. I'm always going to point at you. I'm pointing at myself too, because I'm there too.
Now I'm messing with
you. Squish your head too, like. Now I'm being silly.
Oh my God, I love our conversations.
There's my ADHD now.
Reel her in. So, if you have an opinion we're going to shift. If you have an opinion about somebody else based on something that they say or do you know the whole story?
You never do. You can't. You weren't there.
Now I'm going to give
you don't know the whole story.
I'm gonna give a few highlights from the inspiration. Okay. I will reveal that it was a camping trip, a very large one, with a very large sponsor. during hurricane season in Florida. And of course, that all of that has to be taken into consideration for planning, especially when there's a large number of people that's going to be there. Can they account for everything? Do you know what happened behind the scenes? While you're forming an opinion, are all of these thoughts coming into your mind of what did they go through? What plans did they make? Were they able to find enough people? Did they try? All of these questions that you don't have answers to, yet you have an opinion of. Hello, presidential election. And I can drop it there. Because we all have opinions about people based on what we know. We don't, most times, have enough information to form a valid, complete, true opinion of who we're around, what we see, what we decide.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's a guess.
It is. So don't speculate. Just wait.
Ooh, I like that.
I just made it up right now. But on that note, be mindful of the opinions you formulate of others based on limitations, because those are the same limitations you hold yourself to. So use whatever opinions you have of others that maybe are not so aligned with a heart-centered space as an examination opportunity of yourself, of how do I not like me in this kind of way? Is it, where am I on that spectrum? Am I on this side, somewhere in the middle? What is it about me that's related to this opinion that I ain't feeling about me?
Ooh, here's another pause moment.
Write that one down too.
Yeah, take a few minutes on this one if you need to. But if you have ever had somebody act like a mirror to you and you recognized it, and you formed an opinion, had a certain, you felt a certain way about what they said or did, did you realize afterwards that that was a mirror image of what you had either just cleared up, are working on, or need to?
Okay.
Hit that pause button, write those down if anything comes to mind, and then come back. Because, all right, welcome back. And it's so true, because there's so many opinions that we have about others that is direct reflection of how we feel about ourselves.
Right. Which originated from the first folks who gave their opinions to you to bear.
Yep.
So you'll come full circle with yourself, and you get to choose what your opinion should be of yourself. Ooh, but a should in a good way.
Yes. Please shower the good should on, okay?
Yes. The shoulda shower is a different thing than the shoulda. It's a different end of the spectrum.
See, there's a reason that I don't have captions on for these shows. Because most of the time AI hears Brenda Wolf.
You don't have to. Okay, I'm on live, honey. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry.
No opinion. This is done live at home, and life is going to happen as it happens. And that's what I love about this show, because it's completely organic. We're not in a studio. We're not scripted. And we're just these little points that I keep having people pause for. Yeah, right. This was something that literally an hour before we went live that was piling in. It was like a really quick download. Do this during that, and it was like, oh, that cool. That sounds like a free master class from two coaches.
That's exactly what it sounds like, with lots of homework.
Where are you going to get a free master class like this? That helps you boost your opinion of yourself. Because, all right, I'm not going to add any more, because we are hitting the 40-minute mark here, and we have tossed so much your way. But excuse me. what I want you to do if you made that list is I want you to go through one by one, and I want you to on each one ask yourself, how's that working for me? This was the most important piece of the download that I got about this podcast. That everything that you thought about, where you have an opinion, and it's a negative one about yourself, opinion about a negative opinion about somebody else, or something that happened to you, and you're holding on to that opinion. How's that working for you? And I want you to ask yourself, is it? And this is why people don't ask Micah. Because when they do, they have to face the reality.
Yeah.
We all do. And that's not an opinion.
Yes, we all do.
Facing yourself and how you view yourself is one of the healthiest things, albeit painful, that you can ever do to improve.
Right. You need to ask yourself how you actually feel about things in order to know who you are. It's part of the process. Love yourself through it. Prove your affirmations to yourself, because a lot of what you're writing down is I ams. So be very careful about what you think you are.
And circle the ones that you want to change the most.
And do the homework. So that means you got to go back and watch the other ones.
And I guarantee that a lot of people, when it comes to looking in the mirror, if they wrote anything down where they can actually see a reflection, those are going to be the things that they want to change, because it's an outward expression of who they think other people see.
Right.
When in reality, other people will see you, see your beauty, regardless of how you think you look. They will see your beauty because you express it.
Right. Yes. Be authentic.
Be authentic.
Regardless of anyone's opinion.
100%. Be authentic regardless of the opinion that you have of yourself.
You'll get used to yourself. Yeah. You'll get used to yourself. It's all good. And on that note, this was fabulous. Thank you to
everyone in
the chat.
It really was. And we had a rotation of 3 and 4. Thank you so much, everybody who popped in, popped out. And I hope that if you're watching the replay, you really enjoyed the exercise and all the information that we brought to you today. Completely unscripted. Love it.
A little silly, a little serious. It's like a sitcom.
Silly, a little serious. And a quick promo for when the Messengers is going to return. We've had to go on hiatus for a little bit for personal reasons, but we will be back. I believe it's Labor Day, on September 2nd, on our new day and time at 6 p.m. And Carrie and I are really looking forward to getting back into bringing some collective readings to everybody, as well as some amazing music, because the community at Rise has provided all of the music to us that we will be sharing. And we have some amazing talent there. I'm so happy as a co-founder of the talent that we have. And that's my opinion. But Diane and I will be back next Wednesday to talk about,
we're going to find out. One of us will receive something.
But if you're in the line chat, watch for when we figure out what we're going to talk about. If you're on Facebook, watch for one of my kooky videos, because I'm having fun doing those.
They are fun.
But until then, improve the opinion about yourself, stay authentic, and most of all, love yourself and keep going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Love you guys, and we will be back soon.